I had never thought a normal Tuesday could feel like the world had collapsed around me. My phone buzzed again. Another missed call from her, but I didn't answer. Something in the pit of my stomach had been telling me that things weren't right for weeks. It started small. A lingering silence after I asked about her day. A sudden laugh at a text she wouldn't show me. The way she'd check her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. At first, I told myself I was imagining it, that I was being paranoid. But my gut doesn't lie. That afternoon, I had an errand downtown. On a whim, I walked past the cafe she sometimes mentioned, the one she said she went to for a quiet moment. And then I saw them. Her. And him. My chest constricted so sharply I almost dropped the coffee cup in my hand. They were leaning close, whispering, their hands brushing, too intimate to be casual. And then the kiss. A brief, almost careless brush of lips, but enough. Enough to shatter the fragile illusion I'd been holding on to for months. I froze on the sidewalk, not out of shock, but out of some sick, surreal disbelief. My mind scrambled. No, this can't be happening. I'm seeing things. I must be seeing things. But the sight replayed in my head like a cruel loop. Her eyes briefly catching mine across the street. They weren't ashamed, not exactly. There was a flash of something else. Excitement, guilt, and the unspoken truth I'd been too blind to see. I wanted to yell, to storm in, to make her see the horror she'd caused. But I didn't. Instead, I pulled out a small notebook I always kept in my pocket and scribbled a note, my hand shaking so badly the ink smudged. I saw everything. I can't stay. I love you, but I won't stay in a life of lies. Goodbye. I left it on the table beside her abandoned coffee, my name not on it, she would know. And then I walked away, my legs heavy, my chest tight, my mind replaying every laugh, every touch, every word that had suddenly felt like a lie. The days after were a haze of quiet reflection. I replayed our life together in agonizing detail. The way she used to brush my hair from my forehead. The late-night talks we swore would last forever. The simple Sunday mornings when her head would rest against my shoulder. Every memory now carried a sting. A sense of betrayal so profound I could barely breathe. I found myself obsessively checking her messages, not to snoop but to understand. Each unread text, each deleted notification became a dagger twisting in my chest. And still I couldn't hate her entirely, not yet. I loved her too much, and maybe that was the cruelest part. Then came the confession. Weeks later she called. Not with excuses, not with guilt, just a quiet, trembling voice. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened. Her words were hollow, yet heavy with something I couldn't quite name. I asked her why, and she told me about loneliness, about feeling invisible, about how she'd sought validation where she shouldn't have. She cried. I stayed silent. Because my silence was the only answer I could give that didn't feel like a lie. I realized then that love isn't always enough. That trust, once broken, can't always be pieced back together. And I understood something deeper about myself. My worth didn't depend on her love, her fidelity, or her presence. I had been looking for closure in her eyes, when it had to come from within me. I never went back to that cafe. I never asked for a reconciliation. But one morning weeks later, I found a small envelope slipped under my door. Inside was a single flower and a note. I am sorry. I hope you find peace. I pressed it to my chest, feeling a bittersweet calm. Not happiness. Not relief. But clarity. Life had moved forward, and so had I. I walked outside, the sun warm on my face, and finally felt it, the quiet strength of letting go. Pain, yes, but no more deception. The cafe, the kiss, the heartbreak, they would linger, but they no longer defined me. And that was enough to begin again.